have a question for parents out there. How do you afford daycare? Because I'm looking at daycares. I'm about to have a kid in 10 weeks. I'm looking at daycare prices just for like the mid-range ones. It's like $1,000 a week. If one of us is making $4K a month, we may as well quit our job because the entire income from that job is just to pay for daycare. So you may as well stay home, try and get by on one income and actually spend time with your kid, at least one of you. How are you guys doing it?
So I want to actually give some numbers of what I pay because I think it's illuminating to some who maybe don't understand how much childcare is. Abel's daycare is $14.65. They do food, which is great, and diapers. And Sequoia right now, 3 days a week, nanny from 8 to 1 is $375 a week or $1,500 a month. So right there, I am paying $3,000 a month for childcare, and I don't even get full-time childcare for Sequoia.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You know what's wild for a lot of families? The cost of daycare is higher than a mortgage payment. And the hardest part, you're doing everything right. You're working hard, paying the bills, yet you feel stuck because every time you start to save, another daycare bill hits. Childcare was supposed to make life easier, but today it's become one of the biggest financial barriers to building wealth. Think about it. $1,200, $1,800, sometimes even over $3,000 a month for daycare. That's a house payment. And for many families, both parents are working just to afford childcare so that they can keep working. That's a trap. You're paying to stay broke. My name is Robert, and on this channel, my goal is to simplify the home loan process. But before we can even talk about buying a home, we've got to talk about why most families can't even start saving, and it's childcare.
So you mean to tell me that some daycares got people out here paying $300 a week for care, and that's per child? When did that happen? My mother used to have an in-home daycare center with a teaching program because she used to be in the school system, and she had it for over 10 years up until, I believe, 2014. And, during that time, I think initially she was charging like $90 per week per kid, but eventually it got up to $125 per week, which wasn't a steal of a deal. That was actually comparable to what other in-home providers and other centers were charging at the time. Some of the kids were with her from birth until they went to kindergarten, but others transferred to other centers that had full-fledged preschool programs. And even then, they were only paying maybe an extra $25 or $30 from what we were charging on a weekly basis. So for $500 to $600 a month, you could get full-time care, which was reasonable. So to see these prices now, that is just crazy to me. And I realize that, costs do go up and sometimes you have to charge more, but I just hope that some of these centers are also paying their teachers more.
So I crunched the numbers, and the median hourly wage for childcare workers right now is $14.60. How does this compare to other workers? Well, all workers in the U.S. economy fall into one of 757 occupations. So take a wild guess as to where childcare workers rank in terms of their wages. Well, as it turns out, childcare workers rank number 748 out of 757. Yeah. Stated another way, they are the 10th lowest paid group of workers in the entire economy. Right now, the people we employ to take care of our animals are paid more than the people we employ to take care of our kids.
Crazy work.
And how much do y'all pay for childcare? The daycare. Yeah, the thing y'all drop y'all kids off at? How much is that? Alrighty, so I want you to think about that next time you say that I'm sitting at home and I'm in my bed and I'm not doing nothing. Okay, because you literally pay for somebody to feed, wipe your kid ass, and make sure that they breathing. Some of y'all pay thousands of dollars. Don't have more than one. All right, then I want you to calculate that. When you see a mother at home and you like, oh, but you're at home, like you in the bed all day. No, we're not. No, we're not. You see a snippet of me, my day, a snippet. the snippet. You don't see the laundry. You don't see when he needs me to pick him up 25, 7, 8 because he's teething and I'm feeding in a bottle and a diaper and I'm feeding in a bottle and I'm teaching and I'm feeding in a bottle and dinner time and on addition. Let me put some more toilet paper in the bathroom and Y'all pay thousands of dollars for these things. Remember that when you say I'm sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah, so I love the energy that she brings. The point, don't get lost in the delivery, but the point is a lot of folks, parents, women typically are the ones that take on the role of staying at home to watch the kids, but maybe there's some men out there. But the point that she's making is this. People think that you're not doing anything. Well, for those of us that go out to the workplace and don't have to deal with managing the household, do yourself or your spouse a favor and just take over those responsibilities for a week. And you'll see that there's a lot of work that's done. I coined the phrase years ago, calling those folks that take on that role domestic engineers. My wife did an excellent job. And there's several studies out. You guys can Google or check AI and just get a ballpark of how much money a domestic engineer saves you or brings into the home. It may not be counted in a form of a paycheck, but this is what this channel is for, to build the wealth mindset and to get us to start thinking more than dollars and cents, because wealth comes in a myriad of shapes, forms, and fashions. Don't let anyone shame you if you decide to stay at home to watch your children, to train them, because it is a very important job and a very profitable one. If your spouse had to pay you, they probably couldn't do so. Everyone, all of you don't want to stay at home and watch the children. I get it. But you got to pay attention to different viewpoints.
Does it make sense to work? This math seems to make sense, especially short term. And a lot of people are saying, okay, we've got to figure it out. We've got to make it work. The salary barely is more than the cost of childcare, so somebody should leave the workforce. But I think it's important to talk about this, because what happens when we take that kind of short-term view of the childcare math is that we lose out on the long-term impact of remaining in the workforce, which is, even if you're making break even after childcare, typically you're going to see increases in your salary over time. You're going to put money into your retirement savings. You're going to put money into Social Security. You're going to build financial security for you and your family and for your future. And when you leave the workforce, oftentimes you lose out on those things. And so for a lot of families, it might be that they're breaking even and just paying for childcare, even though they're not taking home anything after, because they have the long-term view and goal of earning more over time. Because what happens is when you leave the workforce, oftentimes your lifetime earnings go down. And so when you do try to re-enter the workforce, you re-enter at a lower rate and it's more difficult to get back where you were. Now, that is on the whether or not you should stay home or not conversation in math. But just in general, the cost of childcare is insanely expensive, right? It is insanely expensive. As a mom to 4 kids, our childcare costs range anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000 a year. And that's not just daycare, right? That's daycare, after school care, summer camp, because there's 4 kids. But just my 2 kids that are in full-time daycare, they're in preschool and pre-K, the 2 of them, it's over $3,000 a month.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I've seen families making $80,000 to $100,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. And it's not because they were being irresponsible, but because of daycare, rent, and inflation are eating everything before they can save a dime. If you're a parent watching this and thinking, yeah, that's exactly my life, don't feel ashamed. You're not behind. You're just trapped in an expensive system that wasn't built for working families. But there's options. If you and or your spouse want to stay at home with the kid, there are new ways to replace income without giving up stability. Remote income streams, things such as virtual assistants, bookkeeping, or customer service jobs that allow for flexible hours. Home-based childcare. Some parents are starting small licensed in-home daycares that offset their own childcare costs and generate income. You have things like freelance or digital work, writing, design, social media management. Remote platforms now make it possible to earn from home on your own schedule. There's also rent strategies like house hacking. I don't know if you've heard of that term, but say you buy a home and you have a separate room or separate rooms. You can rent out those rooms on a short-term basis to a family friend. How about bringing in an elder that might be on fixed income that can help you support the household? You see, you can offset part or all of your mortgage payment. I've seen it done. My goal with these videos isn't to sell you a house. Rather, it's to show you that owning a house can open the door to more opportunities, flexibility, stability, and the time with your family that you really desire. Here's the truth, in my opinion. You need ownership. When you rent, your biggest expenses are controlled by someone else. But when you own a home, the monthly payment eventually works for you. You can't build equity paying for daycare and renting, but you can in a home. Daycare might feel like a dead end at this point, but it doesn't have to stay that way. If you're tired of watching your hard work disappear every month, this is your chance to change your story. Schedule a free discovery call and let's figure out what financial freedom could look like for you and your family. My time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, let's be good to one another. Let us let grace abound. And before you get out of here, watch this video right here. And until the next time, indeed, y'all stay blessed.